Hey, what's up? Let's talk about chord inversions for a moment. I want to talk about 3 primary inversions and then like a bonus inversion that you hear a lot, but it may not be as intuitive as the other ones. But again, refer back to basic music theory in Unit 3 if any of this doesn't make sense. But we're going to start key of C with root position, which is just a major triad when you think about building a major chord, which you can also find in Unit 3. 1, 3, 5 of any key is a root position. So for the key of C, this is a C chord. This is the root position of the 1 chord. The first position of that same chord, we're just going to move this C up top. This is first position. And for the second position, we're going to move this up top as well. That's second position. Root, first, second. Root, first, second. And that's really helpful because when you're playing a progression, if you only knew one voicing or position, like the root position, your progression would sound very blocky and you have to move a long way. For instance, here's 1, 4, 6, 5. Or even you can hear that because it's the same inversion, you have to move your hand physically to a 1, 3, 5 of every one of those, and it kind of sounds a little blocky. To use those inversions inside of a progression, what ends up happening is you don't have to move your hand as far, and your voicings may sound a little tighter and closer together. So here is an example of that. 1, 4, 6, 5. So C, F, A minor, and G. Right there, that's the bonus inversion I wanted to talk to you about. It is just playing a 1, 3, 5, but playing a 1 and a 5 in the bass and a 3 on the top. So if I'm in a C, instead of doing this, we're going to take that E out of there. I'm going to play a 1 and a 5, take that E and put it up here. Every single one of those chords can do that. And you hear that all the time, and it's a really cool way to kind of land on a 1 chord. So if you're doing kind of a nice resolve, kind of a nice thing to play there. So use those inversions and you'll notice that you don't have to move your hand as far to play that block. And a lot of times I'll throw the 5 in my left hand, which causes my inversion to be like a second inversion when I play something else. For instance, if I'm playing a 1, that's just C's. If I play a 4, it looks like I'm playing a 1 and a 3, like a block inversion there, but I ended up not playing that. And my left hand is covering that, so I'm playing a second inversion of the F, but it's being covered by 2 hands. So just play with that. Play chords in every single key and try all those inversions in different places and different positions and see how it all works together. All right, so here's one final tip when you're thinking about playing a progression and using inversions. Think about the 1 of the key. So in this case, the key of C, the C note, can exist in 3 out of the 4 chords of a progression. So if it's a 1, 4, 6, 5, this note can be in the C, it can be in the F, and it can be in the A minor without ever kind of moving it, which kind of keeps your voicings tight and your inversions close. It can also be in the G, but that ends up being the suspended 4 there in that chord. So I'll show you what I mean by that. So here's a 1, 4, 6, 5 progression with the C ringing. Here's the 4. Here's the 6. Here's the 5. And you can resolve that, or you can leave it. One more thing. Notice that I'm playing this here. This is the 2 of the F. I'm not playing the 3, which would be this. Take the 3 out and play a 2 instead. kind of gives it a nice, warm sound. You can play a 6, play a 5, play a 1/3, like a C over E. So that's basically it for chord inversions. Root position, first position, and second position, and then that bonus one I talked about where it's the 1, the 5, and the 3. 1 and 5 in left hand, 3 up on top. And move those around the keyboard. Leave some of them out. You don't have to play all 3 notes in every single inversion. Leave the 5 out, or leave the 3 out, and maybe put the 5 in the left hand, or whatever you might do to make it sound like what you're trying to chase. But move that around, and the more that you do it, and the more that you kind of play with the placement of each one of those notes, you'll end up hearing things that are familiar to you, and you'll end up like discovering sounds that you've always heard, and you're like, oh, I know how to do that now. And just as for fun, go ahead and throw that 2 in there every now and then. If you're gonna play like an F, just play that 2. And the 5, no 3, kind of adds a nice sound. Just mess with it. That's really all it is. But understanding the root, the first, and the second position will help you move your voicings a little bit tighter, a little more consistent. Good luck with all that, and let us know if you have any questions.